Good day everyone, especially to you sir. So good day. So by the way, I am Regine Pebati. I came from Umagos Lugonglong, Misamis Oriental. So today I would like to report. So my my title of my report is, my topic is all about collection of the specimen to be examined. So the proper collection, preservation and transportation of specimen are essential in the investigation of crime. So, hence, whenever possible, the chemist should personally collect all the specimens necessary for the examine or particular stage of a forensic chemist work is essential as questions of the specimen are raised winning trial. So, collection of the specimen is no. When the investigator is collect the specimen or of the human who 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 is a victim of the crime, because um, uh, the investigator is examine the specimen who collect the body, because um, the specimen is important, because if they don't know what is who is the criminal of the who is a criminal um, who killed a victim. So next is factors must be considered when collecting expensive examination. First is sufficiency sufficiency of samples. As much as possible, the investigator should collect sufficient amount of specimen for examination. This will be make of chemist confident that in case of doubtful result, he or she can still has enough samples of repeat to proceed on succeeding examination. So sufficient samples is the investigator should collect the specimen, because um, will make the experiment that he or she didn't know who is the criminal that killed that he didn't know who the suspect that he killed the that who did kill the victim. So third is standard for comparison. When the evidence is questioned, is located or added with a foreign substance, a sample of such a foreign substance must be submitted for analysis. For instance, blood is found in linoleum. A sample of the substance sample of instance linoleum to be submitted together with the portion. So standard for comparison is evidence that he is questionable, that the victim is questionable this victim is located at the area, or he didn't know what he or she didn't know who is the suspect that killed the victim. So next is maintenance of individuality. Each piece of evidence must be collected and preserved as separate sample. So um, investigator is the investigator must be collected the evidence, or gathering the evidences to know who is a suspect. So next is labeling and sealing. It is a well settled rule the evidence will have no value in the court in spite in a good report of the expert on a specimen cannot be identified by the reason of improper labeling. So, um, uh, labeling and sealing is unsettled unsettled evidences or unsettled evidences or um, will didn't know uh, who or she to um, he didn't know or she uh, who um, will see settled rule. Labeling or sealing is a settled rule, or they gathering the all evidences that she or he uh, suspect. So, actual examination of the um, specimen. So, the first step in examination of the article is to scrutinize is carefully and write down in the laboratory logbook, record book, and complete description of the external appearance, including the manner in which it is occurred a particular sealing. It's possible take a photograph of the specimen, including the inner wrappings, and take note. It is descriptions, a detailed description of the appearance of the contents of the package should be noted and recorded. All wrappers should be kept and preserved since questions concerning them may be raised in the court during trials. So, a co-examining specimen is the investigator gathering the gathering 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 the uh, uh, gathering the evidences and will take uh, will take the will take all this to when the when the court is when the court needs or when needs the evidences to or the needs to see or foresaw the evidences, or he or she is not committed a crime. So the second step is examination is to measure or weigh the object, and all measures and weights should be entered in the laboratory logbook or record. Specimen should place in the proper container proper. So the second step is also when you get a specimen is you can um, you can um, mm, you can also put in the wrap, or you can um, it's like the um, you can you can weigh or on the skills, or you can list you can list it's also the you can list in the record book. So the third step is the laboratory examination, which consists of chemical, physical, and confirmation test. So when you get a specimen in the third step, when you get a specimen, it's if it is you can um, hollow the hollow the chemical for the test result for the when you can get the true results or true results. So communication of the results of the examination. The results for examination conducted should be communicated with the requesting party in the form of facts of a specimen received for examination, which with detailed description of the packaging, sealing, and date receipt. Also, communication result is you have to communicate or conducted the people to know who who are killing that. So you can also labeling the packaging specimen that you receive um, that you receive that you receive and put the date and sealing it, because we do not know who or she he or she that you get the specimen. So, court appearance. This writing report of the forensic chemist is usually supplemented by testimonial evidence in a letter date in case it um, brought to court and fiscal's office. Since the testimonial evidence may given weeks, months, or even years, either uh, evidence may given words after examination or the written evidence been made. It is not only permissible memory of referring laboratory record book or for representing himself in court. So, court appearance is um, is you to supplement in the court that you getting the evidences in the fiscals, or that the testimony evidence may given you, or to the testimony evidences is giving you that day on weeks or how long, and the court is in getting the court. So next is rule of forensic chemist and the scientific investigation. So a forensic chemist as a man of science who performs laboratory examination on physical evidences submitted to the crime laboratory in order to edit it has the following responsibilities. So for this is first rule of forensic conducts qualitative and quantitative determination of abused drugs as well as violate substances. So you have the right to um, conduct the to arrest the people that you have on the act that he used the drugs. So second is conduct chemical examination of explosive and explosive ingredients. So they many have people to conduct the chemical examination of the drugs, and they don't know they put on the cigarettes or the drinks. So next is conducts examination of paraffin cast and firearms to determine the presence of gunpowder narcotics. So then investigation, so examine that the man has firearms, not firearms that didn't what that didn't didn't know or determine to the presence of gunpowder nitrates. So didn't know who are the etc. So 4 is conduct gunpowder examination on clothing for possible gunshot wounds. So he or she conduct the gunpowder examination that he possible gunshot wounds. So next is conducts toxicological examination of human internal organs, grass strength, and contains blood and water for food sample and other computation, other substances. So the fifth is the the chemist will conduct the test, the use of human, or the chemist should examine the body or the blood that um, he or she didn't who how to kill that human. So six is conduct examination of fake products in cases in unfair trade competition. So that is you the investigate the example is the police will conduct you that you didn't use that drugs that he but he put on your that he put your packet. So that's the conduct examination fake products in cases. So conducts blood alcohol determination. So they also conduct the and then alcohol. So next examines urine samples and other body fluids on the presence of abuse drugs. So um, she or he conducts also the to examine the body that he used or use the drugs or marijuana or the tablet. So conduct research related to cases being examined. So they also conduct the researches because because the also research is related to cases being they examine that because all dead bodies will examine that he um um they didn't know what or he who did that who killed that body. So Tons testifies and gives his expert opinion in the court. So testifies, so they have testifies or testimony that they have people that testifies in the court that he or she as a guilty or unguilty. So gives lectures of forensic chemists and chemist technology various in schools, universities, police training centers and investigating units. Respondents experience an investigating unit and opinion in matters related to applications, chemical principles of the purpose of the investigation leads. So they have six golden rules in the practice of forensic chemistry. So first is go slowly. Good work cannot be hurried, therefore take all the time necessary to make the case complete, no matter how urgent that it may appear. So if you go slowly, so if you go to the work, don't go fastly because didn't know didn't the that he we didn't know the weather or the accident comes. So be true, make careful and minute examination of everything and do not be satisfied with a quantitative analysis. It is a quantitative one is possible. So it is also pays to too much after than too little and difficult the foresee. So um 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 make careful. So be careful of your evidences that you taken that you that you that you taken that that people, because if the court that if the court is if the court is if the court is if the court is foresee that you 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 didn't you are lying, the court is um, the court is will not required that evidence says that you have. So take notes. So keep a full, neat, and clean record of everything seen and done. So um, if you gather all the evidences, if you gather all the evidences, um, um, keep keep clean and record. So everything is, if you gather evidences and get and chart that evidences that human, keep clean that, because if the court is foresee that it is not acceptable. So consult others. Many cases will lead expert into path, and he is unfamiliar, and when happens you don't consult those who know better. So if you see the accident, please consult the other people that he or she know that people that the accident that the people has was accident. So use imagination. An expert with a wide and controllable imagination is considered um, as the most dangerous creature through its being. Imaginative is sometimes useful. An expert witness does not have have to be solely imaginative, must be considered to be skilled in the field in a forensic science, and he must bear witness within the limits of science. So use imagination. So when the witness is if the witness is he must is skillful in the court, that to in the court, wide and controllable imagination. So that is when the witness is use imaginary, it is dangerous, because when the suspect is is unguilty that he killed that human, you must know how it long that you given to us. So next is avoid complicated theories. So the simplest explanation of the fundamentally the right one, interpretation or um, results is often the most difficult of expert tasks. Or experience are essential elements obtained on forensics and examination results. So it is a simple or simplest complicated theories. So they interpretation results. So when the result is when the test is result, it is most difficult per task. So next is equipment use of forensic examination. So the following are some of the most common laboratory equipment is forensic examination. So they have equipment that they get test or examination or examine that body, the dead bodies. So you have equipment or the forensic examination. So first is HPLC, so high powered liquid chromatography. Oh, this is a scientific equipment is used for the qualitative and quantitative determination of the volatile or non-volatile compound based on the photographic separation components. So the second is ultraviolet spectrophotometer, or it is used for the quantitative and quantitative analysis of organic compounds. So you have to analyze that how or what is evidences that. So emit or enzyme multiple AC technique. So it is used to screening. So from the word it is used for screening. So um, the test is screening that or the samples screening, because we do not know what is that or who is that. So SIM or scanning electron microscope. So the samples is screening in the microscope, or what is that, who are that. So if TIR or Fourier transform infrared spectroscopy, so used for identification of pure organic substances. It identifies organic substances, and particularly abuse drugs and explosive ingredients based in their characteristics, functional groups. In layman's term, the resulting spectrum would be referred to as the fingerprints of the substances. So my next topic is all about scientific evidence. So scientific evidences is evidence that um, and that serves to either support of support of or counter scientific theory or hypothesis. Although scientists also use evidence in other ways, so such as when applying theories or to practical problems. So evidence is a proof of allegation. It means sanctioned by law, or ascertaining in a judicial proceeding the truth or respecting a matter or facts. So colloquially thereto, scientific evidences may define as means sanctioned by law on asserting in judicial proceeding the truth respecting matter or fact wherein scientific knowledge is necessary, such as scientific evidences may have a relation that the facts is issue as to induce beliefs in its existence or extenses. So, scientific evidences is um, um, what's that? For example, is observe observational observational studies and randomized controlled trials. So, evidences as collateral matters shall not be allowed except when it stands in any reasonable degree to establish the probability or improbability of the fact in issue. So this also when you gather the evidences, when you gather the evidences with the it is important is this evidences is true, this is true, or you get that trial. So evidences may have a direct indirect, which includes circumstantial evidence and hearsay. So first is direct evidence. So it's that which the senses preserve any fact to which a witness testifies based on what what he saw, heard or smelled, touched or taste is direct. Crimes are done secretly. So usually the perpetrator seeks darkness and remoteness in order to cover his misdeeds, and most cases no witness is present as the scene of the crime, or even if there is or our witness, witnesses. The necessity, the necessity of resorting to other means of proof is essential here. Of essential hence, it is necessary to use all other available modes of um, procuring evidence in order to establish the power and case in the court. So, direct evidence is is a piece of evidence often in the form of the testimony of witnesses or or eyewitness eyewitness accounts. So, for example, is when a person testifies that he or she saw as an accused commit a crime, heard another person say a certain word of, or words, or observe a certain act take place. So that's the direct evidence. So next is circumstantial evidence. So it's a kind of evidence which seeks and establish a conclusion by inference from the facts given and proven. So circumstantial evidence is evidence that 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 relies on an inference to connect into a conclusion of facts such a fingerprint or the scene of a crime. So by contrast, direct evidence supports the truth and assertion directly without need for my additional evidences of inference. So, for example, is that a suspect is seen running away from a murder scene, that is a weapon in hand, is a circumstantial evidences that committed the murder. So, illustrative cases. So, while a policeman was patrolling, he heard a scream from a house. So, he immediately proceeded to the house, and then and and uh, and there. So, he saw a man coming out of the house carrying a bloody knife. The policeman arrested the man and subsequently entered the house. There is saw a female cadaver lying on the floor with a stab wound on the breast. So the policeman was patrolling, and they saw the man that um, that he has a bloody knife. So he saw the bloody knife. So she arrested the man because he saw the actual scene or the actual crime that he saw the actual crime that he seen. So in the case, the only direct evidences to which the policeman can testify that would he to be, or fact that he saw that with the bloody knife coming from the house of the scream came from the house where the prosecutor may establish in the conclusion that the man that they have a bloody knife is criminal by inference from facts testified to the policeman. So, under the present law of circumstantial evidence is sufficient for conviction if there is more than the circumstances. Next is the fact from which is inferences are derived are proven. And the last is the combination of all circumstances is such as to produce the conviction beyond reasonable doubt. Next is hearsay. So, hearsay evidence is a statement made by witnesses with rests on the authority of another, not from his own personal knowledge or observation. So, hearsay is a uh, um, is a is a is a statement that was made other than by a witness while testifying or the hearing, and what that is offered to prove the truth of the matter stated. So for example is where a person assists someone climbing into a window of a house. So they have hearsay evidences is inadmissible except on the following. So first is dying declaration. So dying declaration is a dying person made clear under consciousness of an impending death. Impending death may be receive a criminal case wherein his death is the subject of inquiry as evidences of the case and surrounding circumstances of of such death. So next is res gestae. So res gestae is events or circumstances, remarks, etc. with relate to be to a particular case, especially of constib, con, contib, contributing admissible evidence in a court of law. So example is would exist a person yelled fire upon noticing that the fire hold had taken had proven out in a crowded movie theater. So next is declaration against interest. So declaration against interest is under federal rules of evidence, a statement made by declarant who is incriminable that is against the declarant pecuniary, propitiatory, or penal interest when it was made. So next is act or declaration about pedigree. So act of declaration about pedigree is a person deceased or unable to testify on in respect to the pedigree of other person related to him or by birth or by marriage may be an evidence. So next is family reputation of tradition regarding pedigree. So family reputation of tradition regarding pedigree is the reputation or tradition existing is a family previous or a controversy and respect to the pedigree of any one of the members may be received in evidences and the witness testifying. So next is common reputation. So common reputation is the community in which the fact to be proud. So that's the common reputation. So next is part of registry. So, when the statement that could be admitted into evidence as registry fall into hiding uh, hiding words or phrases that either form of art. So, next is entries in course business. So, next is entries in the course of business. So, in the business records, the person making and the entry must be the who's or unable to testify. So, next is entries in official records. Next is entries official records. So, and business records are prima facie evidences of the fact stated therein. So, next is learn treatise and is the law of evidences um, is a text that is sufficiently authoritative authoritative in its field to be admissible as evidences in a court in support of the contentions therein. So, next is the last is testimony or deposition at a former proceeding. Testimony or deposition at a former proceeding is as when a witness deceased or unable to testify. So, forms of scientific evidence. So, first is real or auto, aut- autoptic evidence. So, is that evidence which is addressed to the senses of the court. It is not limited to that which can be known by the sense of vision, but extends to those which to perceive by the senses of hearing and taste, smell, or touch. So, real or autoptic evidence is a physical evidences that can be seen and and inspected. Such evidences have probative value but do not play a direct role to prove, clarify, and clarify the subject mat clarify the subject clarify the subjects. Example is ex- explanatory notes, maps, uh, charts, and computer illustration given to supporting testimony. So, next is testimonial evidences. So, an expert may be called on witness stand to answer all questions propounded by both parties in the case. So, testimonial evidences is when the statement that are made in the court by witnesses and that are offered as proof of the matter asserted or of what is being discussed. Example is a witness pointing to someone in the courtroom and saying, "That's the guy I saw robbing the grocery store." So, next is documentary evidence. So, documentary evidence is any written evidence presented by the expert in court which is relevant to the subject matter in dispute and excluded by the rules of court. Formal written report, expert opinion certificates, and disposition are included in this group. So, documentary evidence is is a written proof, that you have written proof that is offered that's a trial to establish the existence or non-existence of the facts is in dispute. So example is letters, contracts, deeds, and certificates, tickets, or other writing and other right evidences. So so mm, that's all my topic, and that's all. Thank you.